Hi, I'm Shane Walton with CLBI, and I want to show you some of what we're doing behind the scenes when we're developing websites for loan brokerages around the country, showing you a bit of the process and some quick snapshots of brokerage sites that we've developed throughout this process. So let's jump into some visuals. Each brokerage has its own unique story to tell. And you'll note that our website design portfolio reflects a unique story and a unique aesthetic for every client. We're not using templates to be a one-size-fits-all solution. For example, in the case of this client, Alignment Funding, they wanted to focus on the local imagery from their offices in Bellingham, Washington, telling the story of how they align with the local business community, focusing on the founder, his story, what he brings to the table, their specialties, recent articles from our blogging services, and then moving into a quick and simple call to action. And you'll note how that differs significantly from the look for TopCap Funding Solutions, where they wanted to have heavy use of icons throughout the site to visually direct people into each of their financing solutions. And you'll note even on the individual pages, the subpages, the header was coded to use that heavy imagery on all of their individual pages in that same way. On AllCap Finance and Business Solutions, you'll find a different visual approach with strong usage of colors to call your attention to the places where they want you to go ahead and click. And this is reflected as part of the design aesthetic throughout all of the individual pages in the site. Again, calling you to go deeper and deeper to learn more about SBA real estate versus SBA equipment loans versus lines of credit equipment financing, and so on. Over here, you'll see a mixture of approaches. With heavy usage of animation, we have the same iconography that we saw back on TopCap, but as you scroll through, it also focuses on visual storytelling through pictures, with strong animations throughout to call your attention to those pictures and give the website a more dynamic feeling. So what is the approach that we use to create such a large variety of different looks and designs for websites? This all goes back to our design philosophy. And we believe that every brokerage has a unique story. And this means that your brand needs to be unique. And the way we do this on the website design side is by starting off with a conversation where we're collecting all of the websites out there that you love the look of. And you might have ones you want us to copy specific elements from exactly, or you might just say, hey, you decide, show me something that looks good. But either way, we're collecting that visual input. We're collecting and having a collaborative conversation about what it is you would like showcased on your website. And then from there, we prepare a structural wireframe. Let me show you what that might look like. This wireframe for Insight Commercial Capital shows the structure that that website might take. It allows you to focus on the story, the ideas that are being presented, without being focused too much on the pictures, the imagery, the colors, the language, the icon selections. So it starts off with a heading section, a large header with no picture behind it, but tells the idea commercial lending is done differently for the company, by this company. What is the unique approach of this brokerage? Go ahead and click. And then moves on to here's our promise to you, why you should feel safe working with us. And here's your team. Let's build that relationship further by focusing on the leadership of this brokerage. And then going into what is your pain? Commercial lending can be complex, but our job is to make it simple. And here's how we give you that peace of mind. And then moving into the different types of financing that are offered by this brokerage, and then moving into the final close, into sales through here's what sets us apart, our first unique selling position, second USP, third, and then after that, moving into, hey, take the next step. Just become informed, understand your options rather than focusing on getting a commitment to borrow. Just understand your options, making it easy and focusing the visitor on it so that they actually are inspired to do that and take the next step. And then a full footer. So this gives you a feeling for the structure and allows you to much more easily think through the great parts and what you might want to tweak to create a truly custom website that tells your unique story. And we start in a wireframe format. So that gives you the ability to think through these and then to make changes very easily. So if you say, hey, I really want to, instead of this, let's have just some imagery over on this side and 3 bullet points over here with a big heading. Great. We change it around. You look at that wireframe. Or maybe we cut this section out entirely and we have all about our company. And then a brief paragraph and a strong image over here. Great. We make those changes. Maybe you want to highlight the leadership in the brokerage. Maybe you don't. We can make all those changes, and after that we can move on to the next part of the website development process where we're adding in the pretty pieces. We're putting the skin over the skeleton, and you see that this has evolved to have strong imagery, moved over to be optimized for St. Paul, Minnesota from an SEO perspective. And wanted a little bit, as we were talking about, a little bit about the company. And then moving into here's our promise. And you'll note those same 3 points, but now with color and with images, and putting a nice urban background to give it more depth. And you'll see that parallax scroll where the text moves over the image. The image is locked, and the borders and the text and the button move over it to give it some depth. Again, here we have very subtle color usage, keeping that very similar to the wireframe, but adding in color and changing fonts to enable it to pop and really tell that story. And then adding in imagery and icons and colors to fill that out. And then down here, keeping that call to action straightforward and simple so that the visitor is 100% focused on taking the next step with this company. This same process of wireframing, developing the content, all of this content you're seeing has been written by our team to help this client tell the story of everything that they offer. In this case, focusing on the unique niche of agricultural financing in the region surrounding Minneapolis. And when we're working with your brokerage, we will go through the same process of getting a feeling for where you want to take your story and your website, developing a strong portfolio of example websites to use as inspiration, moving into the wireframing where we're creating the skeleton or the structure of your site, and then finally going back and adding design to that. And each step in this process has multiple iterations where we're gathering feedback. You're saying, hey, I want to change this or that or the other thing in the structure of the site. Oh, when we get to the design, let's switch out this picture. Let's give me another 5 options for the header banner image. Wonderful. Let's try a couple of different color schemes. Show me 7 different icons for this particular section. Wonderful. And we continue back and forth until you're 100% satisfied and ecstatic about the way your website looks, feels, and functions.